Barry Sanders played his hand today, revealing his desire to retire.
Barry Sanders will retire
the day before training camp.
He didn't have a press conference. He sends a fax in.
Fax machine?
He does not want to talk to anybody, does not want to see anybody.
Shocking announcement has thousands of fans feeling flustered.
People are very disgusted with the way Barry handled this.
Got an email right here that says, until yesterday, OJ was my least favorite NFL runner, but he only stabbed 2 people in the back.
Nobody walks away at the peak of their powers like this. There has to be something else.
There's all these conspiracies of why he did that.
Well, I've heard a number of things.
A lot of it doesn't make sense.
Was Barry frustrated playing for a losing team?
Is this possibly a bargaining ploy?
Everybody's trying to figure out why.
I don't remember if I asked him why.
Yo, and you walked away early.
It was the right time for me, you know what I mean?
I'm a little part of the reason why Barry retired.
Was it friction with his coach, Bobby Ross?
But he's always had bad coaching.
I had called Barry perhaps 10 times, wrote him 3 to 4 personal handwritten letters.
Whether it's coaching or whether it's front office, whether it's ownership.
Was he just plain burned out? Who knows?
And to walk away at the height of his career, we might have 2 or 3, 4 more good years left. Yeah, that takes guts.
I mean, he has his dad talk for him and his coach talk for him. Can he talk?
All we know is Sanders ran to daylight again, taking off for London.
Barry Sanders is in London.
Turns out somebody found out he was going to be there, and so he actually had cameras waiting for him.
What the fuck? Wow.
I've seen every documentary on Barry Sanders that there is to see, and I've never walked away feeling like I knew why he walked away.
Catch lightning in the bottle, set fire to water, coming out the nozzle on the fire hose, glide and swatter.
Still to this day, everybody talks about him. He's the greatest running back to ever play the game. And I know that he walked away at a time when he could have broken every single record there ever was and ever will be. So, why did he walk away?
Catch the lightning, he struck it, screamed, son of it, thundered, and flipped the world upside down, and made it rain upward.
Cinderella man, Cinderella man. You know, I don't take that question lightly. It's really hard to explain.
He's the shit right now. He's
Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella man, Cinderella man.
I always view Barry as, it's like an artist will convey their personality in their work. They may not be dynamic, but what they do is dynamic. Barry was every bit Picasso or Rembrandt or whoever you want to throw out. He was an original. He was somebody that when you watched him, you added the words, because Barry didn't describe himself, didn't want to, didn't care to. He left it up to your interpretation of what you saw, and that always fascinated me. He didn't need to be famous. He was gonna be famous, but he didn't really care about telling you about being famous.
You are looking live at the Marriott Marquis Ballroom, just a couple of ticks past noon Eastern Time, here in New York City, as the 1989 NFL Draft is about to begin.
The 1989 draft class was one of the best in NFL history. Troy Aikman, Hall of Famer. Derek Thomas, Hall of Famer. Neon Dion.
Cowboys select Troy Aikman, quarterback, UCLA. Next up, the Green Bay Packers. Tackle, Tony Mandarich, Michigan State. Next up, Detroit Lions.
I had a pretty good idea that I was coming to Detroit. Coach Fonz was like, young man, if you're coming out of college, we're going to pick you.
Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions select Barry Sanders, running back of Oklahoma State.
Barry Sanders, the Heisman Trophy winner, the true junior that came out, and he goes to the Detroit Lions. Our Dan Patrick has been with Sanders out in Wichita.
Well, I thought we had an agreement on draft day. I said, look, I'm going to come out, and we need to do an interview. And he said, okay. And then I got out there, he got drafted, and then we couldn't find him.
Atlanta Falcons first-round choice, Deion Sanders, quarterback, Florida State.
I was kind of scared. I thought Detroit was going to take me. I would have asked for so much money that I had to put me on layaway.
On layaway, huh? No baseball and leverage there.
So now ESPN is going, I thought you had a relationship with him. I go, I do. And then they would say, well, let us know when you found Barry Sanders. I mean, it sounds strange to say. I couldn't find him. And people in his family that weren't quite sure where he was. Like, it was just odd. But then that's Barry.
Back here in Wichita, and we're finding out Barry Sanders is just as elusive off the field as he is on the field. We finally tracked him down after a couple of hours. We had sightings of you going to church. We had sightings of you going to the airport to go to Detroit. Where have you been?
I've been at home, watching the draft. First I watched...
And there was part of me, when I did the interview, like I was a little bit pissed at him. Because it's like, help me out here. And then I'm like, it came back to, he just wanted to go play football.
You're one of the shyer persons I've ever met. And you didn't want to meet the media today. You didn't want to go to Detroit to meet the media up there. Pretty tough to be a pro athlete and stay out of the spotlight there, bud.
It's, I think I'm being read wrong. I think it's not that I'm shy. You know, I'm not shy. But like I say, some things are just unnecessary, you know, and I'm not trying to downput what you guys do, you know, but you have to respect my judgment and the way I am as a person too, you know. Every individual is different, you know, and I'm learning now that people in situations like this, people don't really care about you, you know, and that's all I'll say. They don't really care about you. They just pretty much want what they can get out of you, but I don't know, that's just something I'll have to deal with.
I mean, it's certainly something, when you talk about the spotlight, that I think for some people that's almost second nature, and that's something they enjoy. And me on the other hand, I mean, it's not something I naturally do and naturally, sort of gravitate towards. It just was not important to me.
Barry was never interested in promoting himself. That role was reserved specifically for William Sanders.
Barry may be exceptionally humble, but his father makes up for it. He's one of Barry's greatest fans who is very proud of his son's accomplishments.
I'm so proud of what's happened to Barry. I know Barry don't want it. If he wants it, he wants it for his father, because he know how I feel about him and my friends back home in Wichita. But
my dad, one thing you know about him is he's his own man. He was opinionated, you know, and he was going to let his voice be heard.
He craved the spotlight. He wanted to talk to us. He liked when we'd come around with the cameras and reporters. He always would give somebody something.
What makes him so special is because he's a Sanders. He's my son, that's what makes him special.
Dad was a handyman, which included roofing and painting and doing, remodels. Most of my free time was spent working with Dad, starting when I was maybe 10, 12 years old. It wasn't that he needed help, but it was just that he wanted to make sure me and my brother were with him, just because that's what he felt like we needed to do.
He was such a stickler for doing things perfect. He wanted things done right and perfect, and you had to make sure you did it right.
Daddy would say, I'm your father, not your friend, so we wouldn't get it twisted or mixed up.
We had 8-foot ceilings in the house. And, Barry could jump, and every time he come to the door, he always wanted to jump up and touch the ceiling. And that was one of our little pet peeves. Now, after I threatened to break his arms and legs for doing that, he stopped.
Certainly, he was a passionate football fan, and a lot of my love for the game definitely comes from him.